gonna start here soon.
I know, I've got it.
You said we were live like 5 minutes ago.
We're on Twitch now. I just got to get this on.
Well, you got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, if that.
Yeah, we're live, baby. We're going live now.
Talk about good timing, I guess.
Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch for the first time. Welcome. Now I'm gonna watch it on the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm gonna watch it on ESPN.
I'm on F1 TV. They're just now pulling away. So you tell me if I need to pause and wait for you to catch up. Just like I did back when we raced together in TCR.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Man, I'm gonna miss the damn show. If anything, I could put it on my iPad here. I got it.
They're on the formation left now.
Okay, I do see that, yep. But man, there's a lot of Japanese people over here. Look at all those, they got the racks out, you know?
Yeah. Do I need to stop and slow down? Or pause, wait for you?
You can wait just a minute. It's still, buffering here.
Sounds like you're trying to run a space station or something.
There's a lot going on, I will say.
It sounds like it. This is gonna be a tire strat race. Like 2 stops, maybe 3 stops.
The Red Bull, for example, can afford to
Some guys in the midfield starting on softs too.
Alright, they're going through Spoon. Verstappen.
Spoon? Oh yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, now I'm on board.
Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
We're about the same place. It's going through 130R now. I just showed him.
Now I think. Okay.
So let's get them today. 151-point lead for Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. He can't win the title here. He can win it in Qatar. Needs to be leading by 146 points after that race.
A lot of fans.
Wow. Need a 309-point leader to do so. Need to outscore Mercedes by a point and avoid being outscored by Ferrari by 24.
Alright, where are you at?
Now, if you want to ride on board with
The weekend attendance is up now. Just went away.
Huh?
The weekend attendance, now they're on the...
I'm on board with Albon. I think Verstappen's already parked up.
And there'll be lots of people as you're riding on board with Oscar Piastri. Lots of people willing him on.
Ferraris are pulling into place.
Because if he can jump Max Verstappen into turn 1, like I said before, we might just have a motor.
You in front or behind?
Look where Verstappen's pointing his car, and then
I'm on Christian Horner right now. He's got those eyes.
He does have those eyes. Alright, I'll pause for 2 seconds.
Back on the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo.
Howdy.
Was it Charles Leclerc from third? Came and led into the first corner.
Alonso looked like he was about to spin out.
It's not a bad place to start sometimes here.
Max is wary of those McLarens. He mentioned it in the interview he did with Rachel just before going onto the grid, and he said these McLarens can start.
Tell me whenever you have lights.
They will have them covered, but you never know. I can't be too confident here.
And he might have won from pole last year. Never led a lap here in the drive. It could be a title-deciding weekend here at Suzuka then. 20 titles decided here in the past. We probably won't get one
Let's
decided
see.
next year.
Not yet.
Round 4 for next
I
year.
see Sergeant coming down, waving the green. We got 3 flags, 4, 5 red flags, red lights. Oh, look at this.
Come on.
Man, they're like 7 wide.
Shit.
Oh,
Big
wow.
crash in
See
the
if
back.
Lewis stays oatmeal this time.
There's a big crash in the back. Probably a safety car.
Someone,
Alonso got a really good start.
Perez, no, not Perez. Somebody went off into the grass.
Where's Russell? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, and it's Yuki Tsunoda on the inside. His teammate Liam Lawson as they go wheel to wheel through the Dunlop curve, and it looks like just as we get
Switch back on the AlphaTauri, down
Yeah.
into deck. Oh! Wow. You don't do
thought
that
there
on
was
your
gonna be a wreck right
teammate.
there.
looks like he's made up places there, starting on the soft compound tyres out in front. It's Max Verstappen who leads, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri.
I guess you only do it to your teammate if you're trying to get a seat, which would be Lawson.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ooh, he just pushed him off.
I see, I see.
You see Lawson push Tsunoda off the road?
For debris on the track, and it looks like
There's a lot of debris.
and Esteban Ocon were involved. And look, there is the debris before turn
Wow,
one.
yeah. Yeah, they had to call it.
Right at the rear of the field.
I think they delayed it so everybody could continue racing until like the 3rd sector, and then
I agree with that. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Right at the back.
that, yeah, turn 1 is crazy.
didn't go, and there's a puncture on the front right there of Valtteri Bottas.
And he's lost his front wing end plate, as you can see too.
See Lawson
There's an early
push
pit stop
Tsunoda
coming
off the
round
road?
from Bottas's way, and yeah, you can see where his back wheels
Wow.
because the markings on the side
You
of
don't
the
do
tyre
that on your
are
teammate.
worn off. That's his teammate Joe Guan Yu, who's also got damage. I hope they've got a couple of spare front wings down at Alfa Romeo because they're going to need them.
And the reason there's a safety car, of course, is to bunch the whole field up.
Alonso up to 6th.
Yeah, you got a great start.
Oh, where did he start? 9th?
10th or 11th?
Yeah, 10th, 11th, somewhere around there.
Is the start. Verstappen and
10th or
Piastri
something.
battling
Sonoda to 12th, but then he started 19th.
turn one, but behind
Oh wow, 4 wide, and that's why Hamilton was on the grass. I thought Hamilton was going to crash. You see that? He was fully on the grass almost.
Right, yeah.
Sainz was super aggressive, and then Leclerc just pushed over. Hamilton might have damage.
Looks like one of the Haas's got mixed up in that.
Yeah.
What up, Jabbar? Is this live from the bar?
No, I just got home actually. I sprinted from the Uber.
Nice.
So Hamilton probably could have made it.
My roommate and I
one or
were
two
discussing
places.
Hulkenberg top 10 finish in the betting odds, and perhaps the odds were okay, and I just said no because there's no shot Hulkenberg finishes P10 tonight.
No, the wave.
Well, Hamilton got damage on his front wing.
And then gets squeezed out of room for good measure on the exit of turn 2 as well.
with not one but two cars because Fernando Alonso gets past him.
This is the one I want to see.
Oh, wow.
Nasty hit, wasn't it?
Man.
I think a similar
Alpin's just been so unlucky.
nothing to do with yeah.
And is that just the sort of thing that happens at a start here in Suzuka? Because you're not really braking into turn 1. You're then easing off as you go.
I feel like Hamilton hates Perez. he
he
always blames Perez. He's like that's his only mission this year is to beat Perez in the championship. He's like,
Racing line into turn 1.
Perez should be miles ahead. He thinks he's untalented. He probably hates him for the defense in 2021 at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Why do
funny.
the Alpines always cause incidents? I don't get it.
Drifts out, thinking that there aren't 2 cars to their left-hand side. There's only one, and that's how you get that chain reaction effect.
Those incidents have been noted by race control Whether the stewards get a look or not, we'll let you know. This is what happened with Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen. Look how Verstappen is like, I'm going to cut you off here and cut you off in your prime. But then for that moment, Lando Norris is thinking, I could get the lead here. But Verstappen just had the better line, didn't he, going through turn 2?
He did.
And interestingly, there is a front wing change here for Sergio Perez. Let's go down to the pit lane. Ted Kravitz.
He's missing the end plate. He's missing the end plate, so they thought they could carry on.
He's missing the egg at the end. I almost said he's missing the eggplant. He's missing the end plate. I guess I'm hungry or something.
Despite that big hit, but what started as an opportunity for Bottas and Zhou has ended in calamity for Alfa Romeo Sauber. They had two very, very lengthy pit stops. Now I'm seeing another Williams in. That's Sargent, I think, has come in again. Sargent started from the pit lane, has come in. So
If anybody's watching on the Twitch, drop a comment. I want to see if my overlay works.
had very long pit stops, changed their noses and their tyres.
Had to be very careful, Sergio Perez, out of the pits. That he wasn't
I want to see Alonso's on board because he got a great start.
out of the way of something Davery on the straights.
Yeah, we may have a small bit of damage just on the dive plane, but it is very small.
Wouldn't surprise me because it was a fairly hefty hit. It didn't surprise me to see Sergio Perez coming in because I thought I saw a bit of end plate with one of the sponsors' logos on there, and it was indeed Sergio Perez's car. Verstappen actually didn't get the best reaction time. Lando Norris did. I think Verstappen was quicker than Piastri, but Norris, he obviously had an extra piece of cereal in his breakfast this morning, and Lando Norris, it was wide open spaces for him, and just for one.
Perez shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. If Max is winning by, if he got pole, how big was the gap with pole? It's like
Half a second.
at least I think it was more. Here I got the app. Let me see. Perez should be easily second.
Well, yeah. Just like Bottas and Rosberg usually were.
Yeah, exactly. Behind that safety car, they can afford to take their time. There's lots of shouting and screaming down there, but yeah, they had to lift the car up so that they can get the wheels off because you can't get the front jack on when the nose is on.
Let's see qualifying.
So not as well orchestrated as Alfa Romeo would have.
Max did a 28.8. Piastri was a 29.4. So roughly 5-6 tenths. But Perez was a full almost 8-9 tenths back from his
So he hit
teammate.
the stuff on tires, right? He can't go all the way.
No, there's no way you can go all the way. It's a 2-stop, maybe even a 3-stop.
Man. So really, I've only missed like one sector of racing so far.
Yeah,
That's kind of the silver lining here.
yeah, you got in just in time.
I don't think so. I think especially with a safety car here where you're effectively taking 4 or 5 laps off the race. I think you'll see
I'm surprised everybody's still in after that contact.
DSCs or safety cars.
Uh-huh.
At least for now. I don't know.
I think most will try and make that 2 work.
James, thanks ever so much. Better luck from here on in for you. Safety car is ending at the end of this lap. While we were talking to his boss, this is what Alex Albon was hearing over his team radio.
And I thought Norris was going to get Verstappen around the outside.
In the range of about 1 to 2 turns rebalancing.
Just shows the amount of downforce that Red Bull has. Hold it.
So they're talking about the 1 to 2 turns of the front flap, the front wing. So it's levels of degrees, angle of attack of the wing that you can change, of course. So
Now that Perez is out, pretty much out of it.
a bit of rear down,
Like I said,
and therefore you might have
anything happens to Max.
front downforce by reducing the angle of attack on the front wing.
Anybody's taking.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Perez is not going to be able to get past Magnussen.
He'll finish like maybe in the points, and then
Yeah.
Christian Horner will say, "Yeah, you know the pace at the end of the race looked pretty good." Of course.
And of course, you know, he was back in the field because of the contact with Hamilton and got squeezed by the Ferraris. And like, Well, then don't put yourself in that situation, like, kind of like what you said.
Fernando Alonso has moved up to 6th in the other Aston Martin. The two Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell back where they started in this race. Oscar Piastri's lost the place to his teammate Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen is out.
Norris wants to go.
Oh yeah. He got second too in his teammate. That was pretty crucial off the bat.
Yeah.
I think if you're McLaren, you'd rather have Norris, the lead driver, just to see what the pace is like. I think Max will be, give it like 2 laps, he'll have the gap.
Dang, look at Alonso. Dude's an animal.
He's on the sauce.
Oh, that's true. He's gonna start falling back in 2 laps or so.
Yeah, it naturally does around the S's, the higher speed part of the track. And you got one of the Hamilton going wide actually in turn 6 there. That might give his teammate George Russell a chance through this corner here where Fernando Alonso is now turn 7 into Degma 1. Chasing Carlos Sainz for 5th place. There's a move potentially on here on the inside of the head.
One of my favorite tracks.
Good traction and decent braking. Difficult to pick your braking spot there. Goes a little wider on that line behind Carlos Sainz. That's the line he preferred to take. Yeah, really making good use of the soft tyres against the Ferrari running in those mediums at this stage. But if he's to do a move, it's got to be soon before that tyre advantage of the soft tyre starts.
Oh.
And that's another problem for another Alfa Romeo, and it's Valtteri Bottas.
Smelling some grass.
Having a bit of a horror here. So he's lost it at the hairpin and found himself spinning round 180 degrees. George Russell all over the gearbox.
That's a Bottas moment.
Kind of a Kimmy moment too.
Oh wow, look at the Mercedes.
George Russell squeezing out his teammates and getting past his teammates. George Russell moves up into 7th place.
Does he? He's got to get it back.
He's tagged onto the back of his teammate. He's going to go try and round the outside, but bits of
Oh, Hamilton's lost part of his wing.
number 44 car, and he gets back in front.
Either that or that was already there.
No, it flew off his wing, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Interesting. Lewis tried to scare George. Nice.
That's a good re-overtake. That was like.
That was textbook Lewis.
He was like, "Oh yeah, you think you're gonna pass me in the chicane? Move over."
I thought Russell was going to turn in on him on the left-hand part of the chicane. Like right here, I thought he was going to chop across him. He actually gave him space.
Between both drivers at that point, and glad to see they didn't make contact. I thought they were going to. Lines him up, goes to the outside, has the speed, has the momentum.
Like when you're at Japan, you get a run on somebody, you take it, you overtake. Cause
oh yeah, you have to.
If you can't trust your teammate, who can you trust? Big lockup from Logan.
Oh, that's why Bottas. Okay.
Oh shit. I'm surprised he's not in the wall.
Place, wrong time.
That Albon? No, that's Sargent, an idiot.
That's Sargent.
You can hear the hit under my voice there.
Is it me or do the Williams look like McLarens? Cause you know what I mean? They had that Golf livery too at Monaco.
Correct.
It looks like McLaren. Not the current day McLaren, but it reminds me of that livery. So I think it's like that livery.
Yeah, it's the Golf sponsorship. McLaren ran it in Monaco, I think, last year or 2 years ago.
2021.
Really? 2021?
Yeah, because that was the year that Ricardo got lapped by Norris at Monaco in that Golf livery.
Was it? I thought that was last year that he lapped him.
Poor old Sergio Perez, his day's gone from bad to worse.
No, it's 2021.
His engineer already telling him, look, we're out of position on the grid here. You're going to have to make up.
I mean, he probably lapped him last year, but I think, yeah, he lapped him last year, but
Oh, it was probably both.
well, it might have been both, but they ran the livery in 21 for sure.
We saw it when he was at Sauber, when he was at Force India Racing Point. Sergio Perez would come through the field.
So how much is Max going to win by?
And be a threat later in the race. That's not where he wants to be. Racing
They have no safety car.
but don't count him out.
Is he done?
25 seconds.
Valtteri Bottas, don't count him out. Getting a season ticket into the pits today, Ted Kravitz.
See, 32.
Already for Valtteri Bottas, a second
Well,
visit.
it's now just a test session for Bottas because he sat in the pit box for about 30 seconds while they figured out how much damage there was to the car. Gave it a good once over, put the hard tyres on, and sent him out about 40 seconds later. What a day for Bottas.
What a day for Sergio Perez ahead, and that's the first overtake of many that he needs. 16th place now for Sergio
He's such a
Perez.
bum.
Gets past Joe Guan Yu, into the chicane.
Who?
There is Yuki
Perez.
Tsunoda in the Alpha Tauri, currently in the final point scoring place. He's got Lance
You
Stroll on the
call
start
Christian Horner right now, he'll say he's doing a good job because he just got past Joe.
also running the soft.
McLaren did a 2-3 in Silverstone, that right?
Not so much for Yuki Tsunoda, but I loved watching them scrap it out in that opening
3-4, I think, or 2-4.
There was only one car on the podium.
Yeah,
They have to get a
didn't
double
get it.
podium this
They
year.
didn't pull it off?
No, I think didn't Hamilton get it? Was Hamilton in third?
Yeah, in Silverstone, he did. It was Lando 2, Hamilton 3 in Silverstone. But before that, I'm sure pretty sure.
That was probably their only shot. I don't think it happened again.
Pretty sure before
No,
that.
because Piastri I don't think had a podium yet. He hasn't been up there. This would be his first. He could have it today.
I gotta say, I was just telling my roommate Greg, Oscar's been shooting up my rankings as one of my favorite drivers.
Yeah, I like Oscar. Is it Craig or Greg?
Greg.
Welcome to the podcast. He made an
Oh,
appearance.
He watches every Silver Class race. Yeah,
Appreciate it. Yep, there's a good
Like
a
and
good main
subscribe.
commentator that does those streams. I know him very well.
Like and subscribe. Click the Fanatec link in the description.
Is it bad that I watch on Twitch?
No, I don't think so.
Right behind him too, and we should go to Sky Race Control for the first time this afternoon. Bernie Collins, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Oscar's just cool. I like how unbothered he is at all times.
He's the guy who tweeted that he wasn't going to race for Alpine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah,
That's badass.
Yeah, that was cool. They announced, yeah, alright, I guess we're gonna sign Oscar. He's like, I didn't sign anything. And then at Singapore, he was being interviewed by Brundle, and mid answer, Brundle like just turned away and was like, Esteban, happy birthday. And in that split second, Oscar's like, alright, I'm done, and just walked off.
And also, remember this year Austria when that guy was in the flying jetpack and he fell.
Oh yeah.
And then Oscar's just like he gives like the to the camera.
Oh yeah, like the grimace emoji. Yeah, he's a funny guy, funny lad from Aussie.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. He's pretty much matching, or just right there with Norris. You know, you can see like when the teammates are together, that's a good sign. Like the McLarens, Ferraris, Mercedes, AlphaTauris are together. But when you see a gap, that's a problem.
Charles, I think they're both good guys, so that bodes well for Piastri and Sainz. Although, the counter argument would be, like, devil's advocate, if the car is good, the teammates should be together.
Yeah. Oh, they should be, yeah.
But Sergio Perez has a 5-second time penalty for a safety car infringement. And I'm assuming that's because he came out and he was ahead of Alex Albon and shouldn't have been. And even though they gave the place back, the stewards have said that's a 5-second penalty.
I saw him overtake multiple cars. I saw him let by a few, but I'm not sure if he let by the same amount he overtook.
So Perez got a penalty.
yeah, meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton really starting to pile the pressure on his old foe, Fernando Alonso.
His old foe, Fernando. We've seen some epic scrap between these two over the years. In fact, right from the first ever race that they were together. Now this is Sergio Perez.
I just don't understand Perez. How can you? The amount of 1-2s Red Bull should have had this year is incredible.
I just got the feeling it was a bit indecisive.
Is Checo under contract next year?
Not
Yeah.
yet. I don't, he's not signed a
Unconfirmed?
contract.
I'm pretty sure he was already
Where is it?
signed, like through 2024.
Oh.
But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
it
anything.
doesn't sound right. Doesn't mean much. It means something.
Although
It means especially less at Red Bull.
I don't think they have to really necessarily change anything, based off of them gonna win the constructors probably today.
Yeah. Oh, a celebration today.
Yeah. Like if
Okay.
it's, like he's a great number 2. Like that's what Red Bull need. Like he's not challenging Max.
Great. He was great in Abu Dhabi. He was pretty good in 2021. In 2022, 2023, he's not been a great number 2. He's been fine. He's been good enough in the best cars. He's not great.
Yeah. He's had some good
Perez
weeks.
has been like a number 22 this year. And awful.
Number 22.
He's not been a second. He's not been a good number 2 driver. He's been terrible this season.
Oh, plan A and plan B. Here we go with the Ferrari strategy. How about plan C in there?
Dude, Kevin Magnussen is like Jarno Trulli. He flashes his speed, and nobody ever gets past him, and he fights to the death.
Who was the comp you said?
I say K-Mag is like Jarno Trulli.
That's
Hold
Perez
everybody
off
up all the
again.
time.
Oh my god. Kevin Magnussen is like the Ryan Newman of NASCAR. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that 12 car back in like 05. Pretty good one.
Mobile 1 livery. It was great.
I was more of an all-tell guy, but the mobile one, yeah.
You've got an excellent chance on fresh tyres to be ahead of him after he's pitted. And Yuki Tsunoda's put that to good use by getting past Liam Lawson as Fernando Alonso now pits.
And he covers himself from the potential undercut of Lewis Hamilton. That's why they pitted him earlier. Yes, of course, he was on the softer tyre.
Bold move, but I trust Fernando.
On the medium, but in a way, protects himself further down the line in this race.
He's thinking long term, I think. Also has free track in front of him.
Wise beyond his years.
Well, yeah, just what I'm saying
His
there
50
between
years.
Alonso and Hamilton. Hamilton was actually given a box to overtake call with Alonso there, so they were prepared to go early. And what's triggering that is those that started on the soft at the back of the field all look to be switching to the 3-stop strategy that we mentioned may be possible. They've all done 10, 11 laps and that's so far. Hamilton did say on his medium, the tyre feels good, I can keep going on this, but he was given the box to overtake call.
Oh, there it is.
He was always going to turn in.
I don't.
Another
I mean, that's a weird
penalty.
angle to judge an incident off of.
That's gotta
But
be,
Checo's had some issues recently.
might be a safety car.
There's debris on the track.
Look at the debris.
Did you just see that? Like, did you see
That's
his car
Perez's
just
fault.
disappear? That hairpin is a green screen.
Happened in TCR in season 14, I think. Like last lap or last 2 laps.
I feel like Checo didn't hug the apex enough.
Yeah, it's Perez's
The
fault.
first
Well, he couldn't hit the apex because he took way too much speed, and there was no way he was making the
he
apex.
locked up.
He locked up, he missed the apex, no control of the car.
But I was right. That hairpin's a green screen. There's no blue like stuff there. It's a green screen. That made Magnussen's car disappear for a second.
What part of the blue is green screen?
There is no blue. It's green grass used as a green screen that made like a blue ad, and then that blue ad made Magnussen's car disappear.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He's come slowly into the pits. So obviously a virtual safety car now would advantage Hamilton in his fight with Alonso. Can he start?
Like how
Just retire his car.
Everybody's like, do we go? Or no, he's serving the penalty. But he's like, are we letting him still continue, or are we? Did you give us the sign?
do we care about this guy?
They are down at the moment at 13th and 14th. Sergio Perez.
Like, are we sure this is like Checo under this helmet?
What a great number 2.
Yeah, great number 2.
Firstly, you'll take the helmet off, realize it's Chabar.
This is what it was for, Crofty.
I'm better than this.
And you drive for Red Bull, and you're number 2.
Where's Piastri? Oh, he's pitting. Okay. I'm like, dude, where did he go?
Hey, I would argue I'm a better Red Bull number 2 than Checo.
I'd agree.
VSC.
Now that could be good timing.
Well, good timing, yeah, for the McLaren driver there, Oscar Piastri, and
Wow.
everybody else who pits or in the pit lane now.
So they were protecting themselves from Ferrari.
Oh, he's got to get out ahead of Alpine. Nah, he doesn't.
10 seconds under the safety car.
VSC, what, for the DEBRIEF?
About 22 seconds during normal racing speed. Piastri comes out
Piastri with a G.
ahead of Esteban Ocon. That is good news for Oscar Piastri.
But it's a free pit stop.
Yep.
Under the virtual safety.
Not gonna lie, that
Not
McLaren just looks fast. Like the way it's
Yeah.
designed, the architecture it looks like a quick car. And if they keep that same kind of concept for next season, I bet you they'll be #1 rivals to Red Bull.
Leading the race.
Who, McLaren?
Yep. You can just tell by looking at a car, like they're on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked that close, but based on their performance tonight, that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, they were pretty quick towards the end of, what was that, 21?
21.
And then, I mean, they did get the win with Ricardo.
Yeah, at the end of 21, they were quick.
And then 22 didn't, like, it was...
22 started off terrible. They were, like, in Bahrain, like, the laughing stock of the race.
No, it wasn't like
23 they
this.
started
No, I
terrible,
think that was
dude.
this
No, it was
year.
20. No, it was 22.
Was that
22
Volta?
and
Yeah,
23.
22 with the porpoising, the new regulations.
Well, everybody was
They
purposely.
start off terribly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. But even
They had
this
major
year,
brake,
they
brake
were
issues.
last.
Both years, actually.
Yeah, they were last. Like, you look at where they started the year. Now they got a podium and they qualified second and third.
But they're consistently up there since Silverstone. It's crazy.
It's like they improved
most
so
improved.
much. Yeah.
They brought like 3 different cars this season, or built 3 different cars. It's crazy.
Leads Lando Norris by 9 seconds.
Yeah, so I just pulled up Bahrain 2023. It was Norris P17 plus 2 laps, Piastri P20 DNF.
Oscar Piastri and Esteban Ocon, and they are telling Sergio Perez to retire the car. So the nearest
Yeah, good for them.
challenger to Max Verstappen in
Great
the
upgrade.
championship is going to score no points here today. Thus
Yeah,
making Max
that's
Verstappen
true.
the job of winning a third.
I don't know if you
for a
heard
time
that.
that much easier in
That was
Qatar.
roommate Greg chiming in. It goes to show how much it is the car.
How much what?
How much it is the car. Like if Norris and Piastri were 17-20, now they're 2-3.
Yeah.
What a sorry sight for Sergio Perez.
Probably a good portion.
For the second time in his career, first time since 2000.
Yeah, but then Red Bull look at Perez and say it's the driver.
Yeah.
Like, they were both.
Well, you know what? Red Bull,
Yeah.
they have such a good car, right? So they have like a couple tenths is the car over the field, and then there's like a couple tenths that Max pulls the car even more, and Perez like struggles with the car. So that's like where the gap is. Like he's losing from the driver and also what the car is capable of doing.
Skill issue.
Yeah. Like, it's too big a gaps. Like, if Max is winning by that much, you gotta be 2.
It's so, like, you could apply it in any situations. Also, like, out of context when it doesn't apply is also hilarious.
Oh, be better. Skill issue.
So that's, I think, why we were seeing that replay, but he might be okay, Lando Norris, in terms of any investigation.
You burning
Keep you
the fuck out of
posted.
my
Lap
hand.
16,
Still
thoroughly absorbing so far the Japanese Grand Prix, which has Verstappen out in front.
Dude,
with the
you'd be
fastest
silent
lap
if you're
and has
racing.
Red Bull at the moment going
Yeah.
on to win a sixth
The
constructors
force
title.
feedback
But
on
there's
your
a long way to
burn
go
hand.
yet. Tech Grab is down to you.
Really?
That was for
Well,
Leclerc
maybe
that
switching
boxed
it
opposite
over.
McLaren, wasn't it, Crofty?
Hamilton's keeping pace with Ferrari.
Oh,
Never.
It's hard to
Okay, I just say that, he just goes off.
the track. George Russell, his teammate,
watch for
right
the
on his
dive.
gearbox
Oh.
as they go into the hairpin.
Maybe the
That
spoon.
could have been a lot
Before I got
nastier
the
for
wheel,
Lewis
I'm
Hamilton
looking
going
for.
off at the second of the deck, the corners. There's no runoff.
Man,
here.
again he hit the
Pierre
grass.
Gasly. He's already crashed so far this weekend at that
Wow.
point.
Classic
Hamilton
no track
with a
limits
lot of
Lewis.
dirt on his tyres, now having his hands full, trying to defend
God,
against
he's
George
not gonna-
Russell, who wants to
Oh!
go to the outside.
Yeah.
Spoon curve, and
He ran me off,
Mercedes
man.
go on the track.
That's dangerous driving, man.
Now Hamilton staying ahead and keeping hold of that fifth place. There
Hamilton was so close to Ferrari and just fucked it up.
off the track. How did you see that, Ant?
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton just forced the speed, as did Verstappen into turn
10 second
one.
lead. Wait, how did Max get a 10-second lead? When did that happen?
At this point in the race, and they're
Piastri
wasting
did.
each other's time.
I don't think Lando did. How did he get a 10-second lead?
Into the pits, and I think George Russell might be coming into the pits too for Mercedes. So Lando Norris takes over the lead.
I think Piastri's.
Lewis Hamilton is coming into the
I don't think he'll get him.
Mercedes. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz second and third. Then comes Russell.
They wouldn't have boxed Max if he wouldn't have gotten out ahead of him.
That's true.
But how did he have a 10-second lead on Lando? Was that just race pace?
Also, because they just showed that Lando got held up by Perez under a VSC. He almost got run off the track.
Okay, I missed that.
He comes out ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda heading down.
Plus, it was only a VSC, so like the gap didn't get diminished. He could have gained a little bit of time if he did it better on the Delta.
Yeah, that's the kind of gap they would have seen on their strategy tools, and that, you know, you have to perfect the pit stop.
I think most drivers could gain some time if they did it better.
It's that tight, so yeah, good job.
It's true.
They could get Lewis out. Right, here's that moment through Degner 1 into Degner 2. Is on the curb on the turn in. Picked up
He
on
curb
the
ride.
corner.
Skill issue.
Clumsily went over the AstroTurf on the
Washed.
exit, then he had his eyes full in the mirror of his
Yeah, the guy just needs to retire. Like, what's he doing here?
the hairpin first down at turn 11.
And
Really
look at this
good
dude just running his teammate off the road.
That's
Like,
like 2021 Brazil with Max running off Lewis. What's the difference?
by the way, I'm being super sarcastic at the moment because he's not washed and it's not a
I'm
skill
not.
issue.
Two Ferraris,
Yeah.
but ultimately, like George was saying, for how total race pace here, it's not ideal.
No, you're bringing up good points. I'm not being sarcastic.
Clean his
Okay.
tires after going off and then struggling to defend against George Russell.
I'm telling you, he was too busy taking photos of his helmet. If he just did a little
That
more.
doesn't have any effect. Oh my god, you're not being serious, are you?
He spent a lot of time taking photos of that helmet.
Okay, him taking photos is not going to detract from Mercedes' performance for the season.
What if he spent the time in the sim? though?
Every driver, 2 minutes taking photos is not going to change a world if he spends 2 more minutes in the sim. Every driver does their own personal stuff.
And he comes out, Lando Norris, just ahead of Fernando Alonso, who's just ahead.
Could have been in the sim.
Charles Leclerc. Bernie Collins
2 extra minutes.
Okay, 2 extra. What about on the flight? Max was on his private jet in the sim for the 20-hour
I
flight.
think we're clutching at straws. I don't think it makes a difference of what these guys do in their personal lives. They were off the clock and off work. Besides, he's one of the last ones to stay in the paddock almost every Friday and Saturday for practice and quali. He puts in the work. I think he's fine.
Back to the point about how much
Does that
it
mean,
is
Bernie, that
fun.
Russell's thinking of a different strategy here and
So
maybe a
similar to how
two-stopper instead of a three? Well, is that possible?
Potentially, or he's even in his stints, so that they've got very even stints and not
both
Corey and Heavy
drivers.
Dag and
Alonso looks like he's just chewing through his tires.
So Lando's got
Alonso.
the hard tire,
That's
but Leclerc, who
and
followed him in, so was always
Stroll.
going to guarantee
Stroll was
Yeah.
in the top
on the race
10,
tire.
maybe even top 5.
See, Freeze, you seeing that?
About what?
The 5
About
races.
Alonso, it looks like he's just chewing through his tires.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the tires, but he did jump Leclerc.
Tonight,
He might jump. Does he jump
Yeah, he didn't
Sainz?
jump- well, because
Fair play, like, he has like 5 races.
Yeah, that's
Stroll has
Sainz
2.
is pitting right now.
Leclerc.
Aston
Max
Martin's
Verstappen
falling
moves up in a second
But like the
place behind
car
George Russell,
is
who
the
now
car is falling
leads
off,
this
but
race but
you see
hasn't
the
fitted yet.
you also see the
Sainz
difference
stops in
between
his
the car
box,
and
Piastri,
also the
now
drivers.
goes past.
Because like
Where will
before
he
it was
come
like
out?
still
it
kind of bad.
was like Alonso and Stroll was right up there. And we're like, oh,
Down the
Stroll
straight
looked
there,
pretty
Charles
decent,
Leclerc
and now it's
on
like
Fernando
Alonso's in the
and as
top
they
10, and
disappear
Stroll's
into
not,
turn
and their
one,
car's not
Carlos Sainz
as
comes
good
out
as
in
the other
8th
cars
place.
anymore.
So Leclerc on
But
those fresh mediums.
And like Alonso just pitted like what 10 laps ago, 7 laps ago off those softs, and his hards just don't seem to be working that well.
The two McLarens, obviously, they're going to probably go through this race now on the hard tyres. They've got 2 sets of them. So their race pace should start to get a little bit more advantageous.
Max just go right by. You know?
Yeah, that was so easy. What happened to Aston Martin?
Well, I think he did that on purpose because he knows it's not his fight. Doesn't want to waste time. Plus, he can get in his DRS or not. Well, slipstream a little bit, maybe.
So Aston Martin like made a pretty good car this year and then just stopped developing it. Is that what happened?
Or just took a wrong development path, which they admitted after Silverstone or Spain. After Spain, yeah. All over the news, they were like, I think it was after Silverstone, they admitted that they had. Well, they took a wrong development turn because at that point, like, you have only so much money and you have to pick a path and you don't really know what it's gonna be. I mean, your data can suggest one thing, but unless you actually put it to the track, you don't know if it's gonna work. And it didn't work, so they had to reverse all their stuff. And then I think in Hungary, that's when they brought their first upgrade to reverse that mistake. So they're behind.
You would think like getting it right would lead you down the right path, but I guess not. Because like they kind of got it right to start the season.
Yeah, but when you do development, you have to pick like smaller paths in order and like options to choose from, you know. And they just chose a wrong path. It's kind of like you're in a forest, you take one path, and you come to another split, and then another split. By that time, you're like 3 splits down, and you might have taken the initial wrong split or the second wrong split. I think their initial one was fine, but their second one was wrong.
It's like a
Too
maze.
bad.
Yeah,
fun
it's
seeing
like a
Alonso
core
do
that one.
maze.
Cost cap.
I want to see Alonso do one of those like wacky dances he used to.
We do need another meme.
Yeah. Alonso meme.
Oh, look at this.
Shit.
Does have fresher tires?
From Sainz. Newly pitted. New mediums compared to older hards.
Yeah, those hards look pretty. Not dead, but you could definitely see a line starting to form a little bit.
Surprised Russell's staying out that long. He seems happy. Seems like all upbeat and stuff. Maybe the tires are okay.
Esteban Ocon hasn't got the power to live with a Ferrari with DRS as well down that straight, and Lewis Hamilton now gaining on Fernando Alonso.
The stewards noted that incident. Hamilton might get a penalty now.
It just looks so slow compared to the Mercedes.
Narrator, he won't.
To the hard. Meanwhile, talking of Mercedes, as
I think he would.
I would probably give him one, yeah.
And there it is, no further investigation.
Did it really come in?
How'd you get it already? Where are you in the race?
Ahead, that's what I just heard. I'm on board Alonso lap 21. Are we not synced up?
Yeah, we're synced up. How'd you already get that notification, though?
I don't know.
That's what Crofty said.
Did he? I can't.
Are you not listening?
I'm on F1 TV.
Oh, maybe it's a little different.
Yeah, I have different comms.
Ah. I don't know, that's what Crofty said, so it's alleged.
Because most times when it's between teammates, they don't really look at it. But I guess the stewards will look at it. Like if you hit somebody else, then each team will report it. Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
Wow.
Hamilton up into 8th.
Two legends, I guess you can trust each other.
Thrown to the lions and having no attack whatsoever through 130R. We've had 3 retire from this race. Bottas, Perez and Stroll.
There's good respect though, for sure.
Hamilton overtaking Fernando Alonso and trying to get past Esteban Ocon, going into turn 1. 2 cars.
I like to see a different angle of that 130R overtake.
He's still fighting his teammate, isn't he? Virtually. He knows that every car he comes across, he has to get past them as quickly as possible to maximise that fresh set of tyres before Russell comes in and is on the attack later on in the race. Because, like Fernando's complaining about now, his tyres are too old compared to the drivers he's fighting.
Stroll just wanted to go play tennis with some Japanese ladies.
In the garage down there, Aston Martin. What a terrible weekend for him.
Yeah, and you can see the look on his face there as he talks with Ben Michel. His race engineer, just no luck going Lance Stroll's way currently.
Are they just flexing the rear wing there?
I was looking at Lance and Ben.
Yeah, it was the last shot I saw, just the rear of the car. The mechanics seem to be...
So what's everyone's favorite ice cream flavor?
That's why, that's why they're checking it down. Right, lap 22, Fernando Alonso...
I like,
That's why he's complaining about strategy, because all around him have got fresher tyres at the moment. And out in front,
sheetrock.
Verstappen and Russell, within the space of a couple
What?
of laps, has now got to about 7 seconds.
Should try it.
Not struggling on the medium tyre.
Did you say sheetrock?
Yeah, sheetrock.
On these hard tyres. That gap's got down to about 2 and a bit seconds now. But Bernie Collins...
He said K.
Because at first I didn't know if you were joking or being serious, and then
he's like, okay, weirdo.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, this way you guys can try it and see how it is.
Is that like a cute name like Moose Tracks, or like you're just talking about building materials that don't taste well?
Damn, Alonso, God, you'd give me a heart attack.
You never tried sheetrock before?
Yeah, I have. I like the ones with asbestos. It tastes better.
With the what?
Asbestos.
We think Russell will try and do the one stop. Therefore, he is only a threat if we abuse our tyres.
I think Russell just made a... not sure. He's losing so much time.
There was a bit of movement there, I mean, from both drivers, but yeah.
I don't think Russell has made a good decision going on the one stop. I think he's going to be too slow.
Yeah.
At the end. He's too slow now. And the sad thing is that he had the pace on Hamilton.
I'm not writing it off just yet. He just pulled the gap on Piastri.
But there's no love lost, is there, between Ocon and Alonso?
Yeah, but like per lap, it's just he's bleeding so much time.
Alonso will be keen to get past him as soon as possible. Only half a second behind.
Now, that message from McLaren to Lando Norris about not abusing your tyres might be because they're experiencing high degradation, but also protects Oscar Piastri and doesn't force any unnecessary...
When did Stroll go out?
Lando's been asked just to back off a little bit.
His car is broken.
Oh, yeah?
His ability is broken too.
If they're trying to maximise things as a team, obviously...
Who needs to go?
You want to do the best you can to finish as high as you can.
You've got to have the feel from inside the car, Crosby. You know when you're over pushing the tyres, but it's always exciting racing against somebody else who's on a completely different...
Sebastian Vettel should replace him for next season.
He's made that call. That's what I like about George. You know, he's always...
Dude, I would love to see an Alonso and Vettel teammate.
Would that be the oldest teammate duo, or no?
Oh, easily, yeah. On the grid, yeah.
On this grid, I mean ever.
Or yeah, but all time, or no?
Potentially.
Yeah, that's a message from Fernando
Could be.
to Chris Cronin, his race engineer, saying, "Come on, get me out of this hole here."
Be one of the definitely one of the most successful ones, that's for sure.
Esteban Ocon too quick in a straight line. Luckily, there isn't much straight line here.
I think there's a good possibility he comes back.
Luckily for Fernando Alonso, George Russell now pits. He's made it to lap 25 on a set of medium tyres.
What if Red Bull sacks Perez and gets Vettel back in Red Bull without even moving up anybody else?
That I
Because
see
they
is
know they're going to be
far-fetched.
so dominant next year. Like they know, like Red Bull knows they're going to win constructors next year. So just get Vettel in for a season, give him a Red Bull, see what he can do, let him have fun, and then he can go retire again.
Yeah, I don't see that, but I think the Aston Martin with like you can definitely make an a case of Stroll should not be in the car. I think you could bring Vettel back. I think that's a possibility, but more likely, I do see him coming back in 2025 at the new Audi team as a German driver. Because they do want a German driver, and they've been
25 or 26.
Isn't it 25? I think, or is it 26?
Well, 26 with the new regs.
Yeah, 26 with the new regs. I think 2025 becomes Audi the team. Aren't they joining in 2025? Pretty sure.
Maybe.
Expectations, Vettel, reality, Schumacher. Mick.
Yeah, he'd be a good
Oh,
opportunity
yeah.
too. I mean,
Vettel, Mick, teammates at Audi.
I know they were eyeing in Hulkenberg, but Hulkenberg's older than Vettel.
And not that good.
Yeah, so I feel like you'd rather have Vettel, and if he wants to come back, that's a good project to be a part of for a couple years, 2 to 3 years,
Try to get him established.
or he just goes back to
make
Aston
some
Martin.
beehives or whatever.
No, I think the opposite.
No,
This
he's
week,
been hungry to come back. Like, yeah,
It-
and all
yeah.
over the news.
from all the interviews too, it seems like his answers are a little bit more tuned in. Like, yeah, he does kind of want to be back.
Yeah, he said he missed it. It's, like, sad to be on the sidelines, like watching other cars go by.
I think he just went through so much stress at the end of the Ferrari career, and then when he started at Aston Martin, he only did that because that was his like only real opportunity. And I think he did need, like, I think his Aston Martin career was pretty good given what the car was, but I think he just needed a break.
Okay.
So faster. Lando's clearly faster. They have to swap the cars. For the good of the team, I want to see a race, of course, don't get me wrong. I think he might even just overtake here anyway. He's close enough, but he's clearly got the pace advantage.
Well, let's see if they do swap over easily.
Way quicker, I'm just in the ditch again. We're going to
And there you go, position swapped, and Lando Norris up in the second place. Now, while all this is happening, Max Verstappen has scampered off into the distance, and he's now 13 seconds or so out in front. But this is all about McLaren protecting themselves against the Mercedes in this race.
Yeah, which you can see there on the bottom of your screen, the graphics, 20 seconds is the gap between Lando Norris and George Russell, and that would have come down further and further, quicker than Lando would have wanted, being stuck behind his teammate.
Lap 27 out of 53, and we've got 4 cars out of this race. That's one of them.
Where's
Sergio
Perez going?
Wait, what?
into his Red Bull.
He's like, I had to take a shit. I'm ready.
It's like the scene from Talladega Nights.
Whatever was going on, well worth a test session for the second half of this race. Red Bull did that with Mark Webber once.
Dude, he started getting back in the car, and Alex Jakes was like, "Oh no, don't do it."
Sargent's out now, I missed that.
That'd be interesting if Perez comes back out.
Oh, Albon's out.
Albon's gonna be out
Car.
too.
Logan Sargent is out of this race, and it seems his teammate Alex
Maybe Perez is going back out
Albon
because they know they can get some points if everybody else retires.
Bottas, Perez, Sargent, and Albon, and Lance Stroll, who hasn't scored any points since the summer break, and must be wishing he was still sat on the deck chair somewhere.
Well, I said it was going to be a race of attrition, but I meant the tyres.
Albon was like minus 150 to finish in the top 10.
Such a shame for Williams this weekend, and they did have a pretty fast car.
I tell you what Red Bull might be doing. just as a little thought, remember when Sergio Perez retired, he had a 5-second penalty for colliding with Kevin Magnussen. If they send him back out into the race, he'll serve his 5-second penalty at some stage, so nothing will then carry over to the next race. They might be protecting themselves against that. This is Fernando Alonso into the hairpin on Joe Guan Yu, the only Alfa Romeo
Did you hear the?
remaining in this race.
I guess you wouldn't have heard the Crofty theory.
I have Crofty on, but yeah, I heard. But not not
He's
professional.
wondering, could like if a 5-second couldn't like roll over next week, right?
No.
So then what's the point?
I mean, I don't know technically if it could. I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I feel like if you get a time penalty in the race, during the race, whether you were finished or not shouldn't matter. Like you were given the penalty
Yeah,
in the
that's not
moment.
in the rule book.
It's like you can't give a penalty and then like in the moment and then based off of how they do determines if the penalty should roll over or not. It doesn't seem right.
Maybe it's like you served as 5 seconds and the next race attended, and Perez checked in as tentative.
Maybe that'll come in the later message, and we'll have Bernie listening out as well on the Zero radios, just to make sure. But he's not.
It does look like he's tentative.
He sits. Hamilton is teammate in 6th. He wants a better result than that.
So let's just try and make this simple for people then, because back in the UK it's 5 to 7 in the morning, and I like things to be.
So you can retire the car and then unretire yourself.
I've also never seen that before.
Wish I could do that in TCR. That would have been helpful early on in the season. And last race, I think, also. Right.
Well, I guess if you get damage, you can try and repair it. Most damage is either terminal or it takes too long for them to fix, and it's not really worth them doing it. But I've never seen a car come back.
Yeah. So Russell's on newer tires than Hamilton. He's catching up at a rate of knots.
Take it easy, George. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz only separated by a couple of seconds on the racetrack. While,
I wonder if Haas can squeak some points if a couple things happen in front of him.
Hey, Max pitted, right?
Yeah.
In the hards of the mediums? Okay.
He's been in the pits twice already. Can he get these hard tyres to the end of the race? What is helping the cars at this stage, the drivers at this stage, track temperature is falling and the fuel is being burnt off.
I went to the bathroom. Did I miss anything?
Is
there any room for Lawson next year? I saw AlphaTauri signed Ricardo and Yuki.
That's close.
Lawson's been pretty good.
Yeah. He, I think he could go to Williams to replace Sargent, but I think he would be on loan from Red Bull, so I don't know if Williams wants that.
So is Albon.
No, Albon's not on loan anymore.
Huh?
No.
Wasn't he though at one point?
No.
Or did they just release him?
They released him.
Yeah, when he left, he went to. Didn't he do the rally stuff? Not the rally, but the. Yeah, he did the endurance.
No, he was with Toro or AlphaTauri. Remember?
No. No, he was
Oh,
reserved.
no, sorry. No, that was Gasly. Sorry, that was Gasly. Yeah, Albon was
in
Red Bull, and then he
21,
got dropped.
In 21, he was a reserve for Red Bull, and in 22, I thought they like loaned him to Williams. Maybe they just released his contract. I think he still's got like Red Bull on his helmet because of the Thai affiliation.
He might have. That's something to look into.
I don't know. I don't.
Just 5 seconds in front. He's got to do it all over again. Here is your race leader.
I don't believe anymore, but.
And still in the race. We haven't seen him for a while.
Exactly. Neither of the others.
Nobody's seen him for a while. Joe Guan Yu might see him in a little bit because he's going to be lapped. very, very shortly, I think, by Max Verstappen. As we see him going through turn 5, Lando.
Yeah, but I can see Lawson going to Williams, possibly.
Norris in a battle with Russell, but Lewis Hamilton very much in the thick of things.
So if Russell wants to make this work, he's gonna have to go the rest of the way on hards. Went T2 more laps.
Yeah, it's rough.
Better it will be for Lewis when he gets onto his fresher tyres. So he needs to be a bit of a blockage to his teammate, if he can be, to protect his own at the moment.
Look at the teammate pairs we're talking about. You got Max and the 2 McLaren, 2 Ferrari, 2 Mercedes, almost 2 Alpine.
Yeah, and it was just the 2 Haas's together as well.
You got the 2 Williams together in the pits.
And they are pitching, they are going to make Sergio Perez come back into the race so that he serves his penalty, Crofty. You're right. So they have been in contact with the FIA to square it away, to say, you know, are we allowed to do this? I mean, I know Red Bull are good with the rules and everything, but this is taking the biscuit, isn't it? The FIA have said, yeah, we think you are allowed to do it. So go for it, even though he hasn't been in the race for, what, 15 laps, Sergio? 10 laps?
Yeah. 7, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go out, come in, do a pit stop,
Do his penalties, say hello to people, wave, go quick, go slow.
and then go back around and then come back in.
And then, I don't know, come back in or stay
Sure.
out. If loads of other people retire, you might get a point. Well, there you go. I've never seen it.
I didn't even know you could unretire a car.
Me either, I never saw
Yeah,
that.
we didn't either. Yeah.
The next race without having another penalty hanging over him for not serving a penalty
But I've
here.
never seen those penalties hung over to the next race also.
No, but I'm assuming there's something in the sporting regulations that says you can, otherwise it wouldn't have prompted my attention. Go on, Ted, if you're not too busy,
too
go and have a
busy.
read of the sporting regs.
There's no way, if you, that makes no sense, like, if you think about it, if,
To be served at the next race, the driver does. But I've never known that to be subsequently held over if that driver retires. You know, what about Logan
Braz is
Sargent?
the guy right now in the Discord being like, yo, send me another invite, get me back in the lobby.
he had a disconnect.
I've got a race to follow.
I'm going to go back to pit lane.
He's been like saucy demon.
32 out of 53 laps.
Okay, just for info, so we had a rear wing failure on the other car. Our car is all okay and we can see it in data, so we're all okay. If you can minimise curves where possible.
That's one of those messages to a driver where you're trying to build up some confidence, but then just say, yeah, but if you could just stay off the bits that make it wobble a bit more, that'd be nice.
I've heard drive fast and take big risks before. I haven't heard drive fast and take no
It's always nice to watch Japan, even like in a dull period like this, because you never know when something could happen, because one mistake and they're in the wall or in the gravel.
Just over 4 seconds then.
I just enjoy watching the cars and the drivers at work. You know, cars moving around a bit more at this stage with the worn tires. Camera angles are actually pretty good at this track. Looking at the details of the cars too. It's like the cameras have become so good and so clear now, especially when moving at like fast speeds. You can still see the intricate details between every car, and it's cool to see the difference.
At the moment, Ferrari scoring more points than Mercedes here today, but things could change around quite dramatically in the next 21 laps. One thing that looks pretty certain from here on in, unless there's any mechanical issues, is that Red Bull are going to be Constructors' champions for a 6th time. They need to outscore Mercedes by 1 point and not be outscored by Ferrari by 24 points, and they are doing both of those things currently. What else is looking good is that
It's a pretty poor weekend for Perez if he has a race like this and Red Bull wins the Constructors, he has to celebrate. I don't think he would want to celebrate. They'd probably say, yeah, you don't have to come. Max basically won it by himself.
Yeah, he did. I think race control is concerned and not going to let him out because I think Red Bull wants to use this as a test session. Maybe test some parts or put on the old floor or something like that. I don't know.
But it says if any of the 4 penalties involved, which includes what Perez has, are imposed on a driver, and that driver is unable to serve the penalty due to retirement from the race, the stewards may impose a grid penalty on the driver at his next race. So that's what they're trying to avoid.
I'm amazed you found time to go into the sporting regs on that one.
I
don't know
heard.
if this. I don't know if this is considered racist, but I just looked up Bernie Collins and I was shocked that she's not a redhead.
Right, 15 seconds, the gap out in front. Verstappen
Isn't
over
she
Bottas.
like?
Piastri has dropped back bit by bit in third place at the moment.
I'm not gonna.
And
This is.
Charles Leclerc, in fourth.
I got a lot working for me. I'm not gonna entertain that question.
Carlos Sainz, 2 seconds behind him.
So, the gap between the McLarens is, I'm trying to change the subject here. The gap between the McLarens is pretty much stabilized. Hamilton's catching Sainz. The Ferrari gap has stabilized between Leclerc and Sainz. Hamilton actually just took out 7/10 in the last lap to the Ferraris. Russell's still gaining, but not as much as he was on the after his pit stop.
He can see them quite clearly in front of him. It's always nice when you're in the car. It's just that carrot you need.
Oh, and Verstappen is still in first.
Spur you on, that little
Anybody
bit
was
extra.
interested.
So current models have us under pressure end of race. So if there is any more pace in that, would be helpful.
So look after your tyres and go fast.
Yeah, exactly, but his pace has dropped off to a 38.1. We knew it was a 37.8 that the team were targeting. That's what that message was all about.
Bernie.
Yeah, I think that they, at the moment, Norris would come out behind him when he pits, and we're expecting Norris to pit again, and that's who they're fighting at the end of the race. So they're thinking they can get all the way to P2 when they box again, just can they hold on to it?
So, in this race,
If Russell's tires are under pressure at the end of the race, he can get a penalty for not maintaining minimum tire pressures.
You have to run 2 different types of dry compound tyre.
Wait, what?
Right?
We're expecting Norris and Piastri.
Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, the teams are required to run a minimum tire pressure. Mercedes just said that their models showed that he'll be under pressure at the end of the race.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why he's telling them to pick up the pace, put more heat in the tires, try to raise the pressures.
A great stop time there for Ferrari, 2.2 seconds, and Lewis Hamilton's lost 8/10 to Charles Leclerc in that pit stop by being stationary for just that little bit longer. This is Fernando Alonso heading towards turn 1. Hamilton is out safely ahead of Alonso in 7th place. So Ferrari, wary of the undercuts, decided to come in. Mercedes, realising they had to pit at the same time, boxing as well.
So that was Leclerc that boxed. What about Sainz? Because Hamilton was closer to Sainz, obviously, than he was to Leclerc. It'd be interesting to see if
Hulkenberg's in 10th. What, Gasly pit, or did he get that on track?
Piastri is going to box as well. They're going to react to that, the McLaren, to protect him. Carlos Sainz was probably out of the undercut range from Lewis Hamilton, but his teammate Charles Leclerc, well, he was ahead of him anyway, should get ahead after these pits.
So, just to comment on Hamilton, this season especially, when he's been, I want to say like under pressure, well maybe a little bit under pressure, but battling close and back in the midfield and stuff like that, you see more of old Hamilton, or younger Hamilton, when he's battling wheel to wheel, being super aggressive. And we haven't seen that when he was comfortable in Mercedes when he was winning championships, and I think people are just surprised that they don't know what younger Hamilton used to be like. Like he has that youthfulness when he drives and battles wheel to wheel now.
I think it also matters a lot more now based off of where he is on the track. You know, when you're in the midfield, you got to fight a lot more. When you're in the front, towards the front, you're not racing everybody when you're out in the front.
You can give more space and you can be more lenient.
Yeah, you got the whole race to work it out.
i.e. Leclerc, and I feel like they've missed the moment with Sainz.
Gasly makes a move on Nico Hulkenberg and moves up into the points. That's the 10th spot there for Pierre Gasly, who's had one of those frustrating weekends so far, but with 5 drivers out, is looking for a potential points reward that at many times
is anything going to happen? Let's see.
For him. You think is though, they might get undercuts, but Sainz will be on slightly fresher tyres. Is track position that vital here?
it depends on, as you see Lando Norris come into the pit box now, in pit lane, sorry, and yeah, so this is, it's all about that potential threat from George Russell. So they have.
Has Piastri pit yet? No, yeah, he's got.
Yeah.
Sure we're going to see go on here. Yes, they are.
Nice, so far back.
Down in McLaren. So that, look, you have to look all the way back to FP1, Crofty.
Yeah.
This is where it all starts, where your strategy begins. So they've saved themselves as there is Russell going past, but obviously on much, much older tyres. I am sure he's not going to hang on to this, but for what it's worth, he's got track position.
You know, you were.
And that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
so they knew it. That's why they've left Sainz out there to offset themselves.
Love the
now.
Ferrari strategy. I guess we've been undercut.
And you know, you were looking for the.
By who though? Who did he get undercut by? Leclerc?
I don't know, probably everyone.
He was already.
No, he was already behind
Leclerc.
Leclerc. No, he got undercut by Hamilton. Why didn't Ferrari pit Sainz one lap after Leclerc? They screwed up Sainz's race. Unless they wanted to leave him out longer. Then
Yeah, they could offset it. He should be able to still get Hamilton, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not so sure. Hamilton's been quicker than the Ferraris the second half of this race so far.
I'm not sure this is going to work for George. I think the tyre deg was too
And the Mercedes were a lot quicker in the end of the race on lighter fuel.
Yeah, that's also true.
Think about a plan B here, and was that what swayed Mercedes?
Like I said, he was the one that had the feeling in the car.
Such an odd characteristic for a car compared to the other ones.
He can't stick to the lap time that the team wanted. As a set of softs, hards go on. It's caught out by that red stripe.
Perez is just chilling.
Perez is in there just watching Verstappen's pit stop.
He's like, do we go now or do we wait?
5 seconds? I'll give you 5 minutes.
Oh, that's so sad.
He's got to come on the track for that penalty. George Russell.
He's such a bum.
We know that Lando Norris has.
He just is. He's just a bum.
Norris has stopped twice in this race. Ahead of him, Carlos Sainz has only stopped once, and Max Verstappen has stopped twice and is still in the lead of this race, enjoying a very comfortable return to leading a race, and something that he didn't experience, of course, in Singapore, which looks like being a little temporary blip, doesn't it, in the Verstappen Red Bull domination for this year.
Yeah, back in his happy place, where he's performed best this year, on the front with no pressure.
Box is the message for Carlos Sainz. Has the moment come and gone though for Carlos Sainz?
That bed is looking really good right now, not gonna lie.
Oh dude, I'm fully awake right now. This is such a tired...
Yeah, it is a nice strategy race.
Really good race for strategy. Because the pace is all pretty similar, but certain cars have been faster at certain points of the race than others. And then you have, different timed stops. Actually pretty interesting.
Lewis Hamilton, where there's a lot of damage on Sergio Perez, where Carlos Sainz was getting involved in the skirmishes too, as we ride on board with him, and where Max Verstappen almost got overtaken by Lando Norris, but survived that and has looked pretty comfortable out in front ever since. Oscar Piastri did get overtaken by his teammate. Piastri and Norris a little bit offset currently, and we'll see how that pans out with the two McLaren drivers come the end of the race.
As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, Lewis tackling the final chicane as Carlos Sainz hasn't even peeled off into the pit box yet. So he's going to be quite some way behind distance-wise, but will be coming back out, Lewis, once he gets back out there on that fresh set.
And it's the hard compound tyre for Sainz, and has to be, because he's run 2 mediums in this race so far. He comes out ahead of Fernando Alonso. Eventually, Sergio Perez gets some driving done rather than just sat in his Red Bull.
I can already see so many memes. Dude,
He's practicing.
So many memes coming after this race.
This is the F1 driver equivalent of like twiddling your thumbs.
Second car out there.
It's like, like, Max is like the older brother who's just good at the video game, and Max gives Checo, the younger brother, like the controller that doesn't have batteries or it's not plugged in, and he's just trying to play.
That's not plugged in.
He thinks he's playing, but he's not.
I would love for somebody to make a meme just like, putting that into a picture or something.
started this race 43 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton in second place in the championship.
And the only reason I know that is because that's happened to me. I was the one with the with the disconnected controller, no batteries.
I was the one racing, but my brother was just watching with no controller. He was so young.
Here he goes. He gets his opportunity. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing his thing.
It'd be so funny if they waited too long and it was the last lap. We'd be like, okay, stop the car, the race is over.
How many laps does Stroll have on him to like advance to P18? Or does just like doing a lap make him P16?
No, you'd have to. Yeah, he's X amount of laps. Like he's got to get back to that.
He'll get it.
Yeah. If he goes all of it, I don't know. He might just do a lap or two.
I don't know. On the softs. Maybe they're testing the softs for men. I don't know.
I've never seen a driver on the timing board active out on track like 6 laps down.
Unfade me.
It says plus 6 laps. He's definitely more than 6 laps.
No, he's got to be 6 laps behind Stroll.
Oh, right.
Right, George Russell is having a defending experience here, and a defending experience where his tyres are offering little or no stickiness up against the young Australian.
His tires don't look good.
His tyres are offering him an awful lot more grip, and you rather get the feeling that with some DRS, if Oscar's got
Oh, Georgie!
it's going to be quite tight going into turn 1. We're on board with George Russell, and we can see Piastri getting closer, and he has got DRS as Oscar Piastri.
Oh.
Russell's looking which way to defend.
George has the speed, but he's not putting things together this season. Like even when McLaren had a pretty shitty car, Norris was always able to get the best out of it all of the time. And think about Strad and this and that. I don't think George has that capability.
He has, by the way.
He was just really quick and like in F2, you don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff. You just have to have the raw speed.
What's the point?
This ain't going to be the fastest because he's having a 5-second penalty before they do anything.
So Piastri's running on board with him now. We can see George Russell in front. He's realised that the pace of the Mercedes is pretty comparable down that main straight. He wasn't quite close enough last time around.
Is he out of the pits? Is he back?
So he's got to think about how he can get closer this time around. And
+5.
it all begins here at the spoon curve coming up. If you can focus on getting a clean exit out of this one, you can get slightly closer into the slipstream.
He would be on loan from Red Bull, so I don't know if Williams wants that.
So is Albon. Teammate peers we're talking about.
Pick your moment. Into the chicane or out of the chicane?
Well, he picked his moment there, but he just ran out of room to do it.
He's going to get a nice run. Watch this.
And what he's going to do is get a better exit, a straighter exit here. Now, is he
I don't know.
The traction seems very good
Oh,
still.
yeah, I think he'll get him.
Strong the slipstream.
He's going to do catching. He's going to go to the inside as Russell to defend.
Yeah.
Can we get around the outside? Yes, he does. Nicely done by Piastri.
On to Kimi Räikkönen.
At that spoon curve.
Oscar Piastri moves up then into third
Nice
place.
move, lad. Nice move.
Return the car. Why?
They probably wanted to test a system or two.
Maybe they'll unretire it again.
No, it was probably just a systems check.
Yeah, but he came out to so he could serve the penalty. But doesn't that mean he has to do a pit stop and serve it at the pit stop?
He did pit last lap.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. They didn't show it then.
A cheeky from Red Bull. Very Red Bull-esque to do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. They got the lawyers in the rule book.
I just like, what's the point of serving it now? Like if it can't apply to next race.
Oh no, they said that that lady that you said was whoever.
Bernie Collins.
Yeah.
Former Aston Martin strategist.
Yeah, she said that if you got one of those penalties, which one of the four, so the one that Perez does qualify, it can be converted to a grid drop for next race if the car is retired, which is kind of what we do in TCR when a car is retired. You don't get a time penalty, you get a penalty point, which then equals the back of the grid or a grid penalty. If you finish the race, then you get a time penalty. So that's why it's always better to finish the race, so you can get a time penalty. Even if it's a bad result, you might as well get the time penalty and no penalty point, or like one less, rather than DNF, like in the pit lane, and you not get a time penalty, but you get like an extra penalty point, which stays with you for a lot longer. So, for those who are, in the championship fight or towards the top of the championship, it's better to just finish races. If you don't care about, or you suck, then it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
With Charles Leclerc now heading towards Spoon Curve, and if there's nothing doing it trying to get past here, there's certainly a slipstream to be had on the straight leading to the next chicane. Leclerc, who's finished second on the road here in last season, demoted to third after a 5-second penalty because there was a tangle with Sergio Perez at the chicane, which will come our way after 130R. Just enjoy this moment. Flat through 130R, I still think it's absolutely fantastic what these cars can achieve. Into the chicane we're going now. He's got to get a good exit, has Charles Leclerc. Decent traction as they plunge downhill to make his move on George Russell. He's got DRS.
Here comes Charlie.
Open as he gains. And which way can he go? Which way is there a move? He has to stay behind the gearbox once again, George Russell.
I'm surprised he didn't make his way through that time. He couldn't even follow as closely as Piastri could on the exit of the Spoon Curve, and that's what's doing the damage. So clearly the car is working in a different way here at Suzuka, and it might be more difficult than I first thought.
But the Alpines are just slow.
Charles first thought as well. He's got the speed on the straight, but not in the high-speed corners.
If there was a safety car, we would pit soft, but you would give up 3 positions. Feedback? Go for it.
Yeah, that's the right call. We've seen too many times, haven't we, how vulnerable you are at the end of a race.
He's so chill on the radio, it's awesome to hear.
Even if they're out of position, they're going to pass you, no problem.
Went into this race, Oscar Piastri just 3
Yeah, they got a good driver pairing.
in the championship. He's going to
Yeah.
fit the top 10 after this race, and in his rookie season, what an
Right now, I'd probably put him as the strongest or second strongest pairing.
It's crazy because he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Which is like, when you get a rookie come in like Sargent or someone else like in their first season, or even Tsunoda when he came in, or Zhou, you always think of like, oh, it's their first season, you have to give him a lot. You got to give him at least 2 years. But then Piastri's like the exception. No, you don't have to give him 2 years. You just come in and do your work, and that's what Piastri has been doing.
And it's not just against like any other teammate, it's against Norris, who's proven to be like a pretty top tier driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, good job. Good respect.
And the crowd goes crazy. I felt like I was driving. I was in cockpit and all.
Oh, kind of like our little side-by-side tussle into turn 1, turn 2 Japan.
Yeah, we did
He's
that.
in 14. Yeah, no, 15. No. 15.
14, I think.
Was it?
Yeah. You were at Mercedes, or no? You were at.
Yeah, it was
No.
Mercedes season 14 and Ferrari season 15.
Oh.
You were in the Ferrari though, right?
Yeah, I think this is might be us.
This is actually us, yeah. Well, except I was on
Yeah,
the...
you, I
I was
think,
on the
overtook.
inside, you were on the outside.
But I think, yeah, it could be. I think you eventually got me though.
I did get you.
Yeah.
I'm only asking, did he go
Well,
on
because
for
I was ahead
that route
going into the
race
last
or
chicane,
was
and I got a really bad exit.
But
No, I got
the gap between the two cars, so,
I think a bad entry, and we were side by side.
That's
and then
the
I
one
was right
you won.
behind you.
After
Yeah.
the
So I passed you on the
Yes.
last lap.
it was
Or second to
the
last
safety
lap.
car came out, and then you jumped me in the pits
Yes.
because of the game glitching.
Yep. Well, it's just because I pressed the button faster, probably for my pit stop.
Or the
No, the game glitched. And you got me, but then I got you back. Yeah.
Yeah, Verstappen could win this championship on a Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Red Bull could win this championship on a Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, this Sunday. It's all just been heading to that conclusion pretty much since the opening race of
So when they said Red Bull needed to outscore Ferrari and Mercedes by a certain number of points, I think they just meant Max.
Constructors' Championship.
He's literally putting the team on his back right now.
Said he could seal it in the sprint race in Qatar. So don't miss that.
here is Lewis Hamilton. He can see George Russell again in this race.
So what am I saying
Oh
to
boy.
just say to George, don't
Oh, he'll get past easily.
Yeah.
to be chasing after Charles Leclerc.
But now it's Russell out ahead, so you gotta think, what was he gonna do?
Russell's going to get overtaken by Sainz.
And I would say at this point, they haven't made progress as a team. They've overtaken one of the Ferraris, but let them race. There's enough of a tyre offset that I don't think it's going to really come to blows this time.
Yeah, but I do disagree with what you're saying because race control have just noted Charles.
If they make
Leclerc
contact, I will
gaining
like,
advantage.
throw my headset on the
So
ground.
you now had Lewis Hamilton ahead of George Russell.
Oh, lock.
Hamilton.
I think he's made the corner though, yeah.
You can't really then give the place back, and it might lead to a penalty. I'm just talking, tactics. If you were Mercedes, surely you'd invert the cars right now, but they're not doing that. Lewis Hamilton's a bit too far back anyway, even with the DRS.
And I wouldn't say that George pushed him off the track either.
Just make sure you give each other plenty of room.
Says Pete Bonington, Lewis Hamilton's race engineer. Just looking Esteban Ocon ahead of Liam Lawson. He's now got Yuki Tsunoda right behind him. That opening lap battle we saw between Lawson and Tsunoda might be carrying
Yeah,
on
Sainz could get both
right
Mercedes.
at the end of this race too. No further investigation.
He'll be joining the queue very shortly.
For leaving the track, gaining an advantage.
In 2 corners, he will.
As you were with the two Mercedes drivers. As we head towards the hairpin now, Lewis Hamilton seems a little bit too far back, and he's got Carlos Sainz right on his tail. Ted, down to you.
So this Lawson-Tsunoda battle, round 6, has been going on for quite a few laps now. I've been following it, and Liam Lawson's engineer has been giving him all sorts of tips to stay ahead of Tsunoda. So last time round, Lawson did actually undercut Tsunoda. Remember, it was the other way round, Crofty, in the first stops. So yeah, there really is a very keen fight between the two teammates at AlphaTauri. But if Mercedes are going to make the swap, they need to do it now, really, because otherwise they're going to run out of laps to try and chase down Leclerc. There is pace in this Mercedes to get Leclerc, but if they need to get it on the car with the fresher tyres, they need to make the swap now.
Can't really compare this race to Singapore, but of course in the closing stages at Singapore, George Russell was ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who was the fastest
There we
Mercedes
go.
at that
This'll be
stage.
good.
We know how that ended. Hamilton is once again the faster of the two Mercedes because he's had 2
I don't think he's going to get him.
is trying to make a one-stop strategy work.
Ah.
It's difficult here to order
Not yet.
George Russell to let Lewis Hamilton pass because he's going to allow Carlos Sainz now to breeze past him again.
But I'm just worried that is the Mercedes tussle going to let Sainz by easily on both.
Hamilton just feels a little bit under threat from that Ferrari behind. And this is all important. It really is. Mercedes don't want to be losing any positions to Ferrari here because the two teams are chasing second in the Constructors' Championship. And that second might be a battle for runners-up, but it means extra prize money for the team.
I feel like I wouldn't do any team orders. I'd let them race right here.
2 seconds as we watch Carlos Sainz approaching Lewis Hamilton into the hairpin. Sainz doesn't make the lunge. Lewis Hamilton can't make the move on George Russell.
Sainz is not going to be able to overtake Hamilton if Hamilton has DRS. But if Hamilton gets ahead of Russell, Russell has worse tires, Russell would get easier overtaken.
Hamilton's tires are going off.
Yeah, I see that too now. He maybe got too close. Yeah, I don't think he should.
Right here, do it on the last lap because Lewis has got the protection with the DRS of the Ferrari behind. That's what George was referring to.
Russell's tires are so dead,
Look what that guy did.
and Sainz has such a pace and tire advantage that it's not Singapore, it's Japan.
He's not going to overtake Leclerc. I'll protect him by him using DRS here.
Yeah, I agree with Russell. You gotta wait a couple laps. Yeah, look. Now watch next lap. He'll get passed by Sainz. Yeah, look at the gap already. Like.
Maybe because they still think Lewis Hamilton's got a chance of getting at Charles Leclerc, or maybe because they just think he's the faster driver, he should be ahead.
Yeah, it's.
Back from Leclerc anyway, even before he joined the back of this fight. And now
I don't agree with that.
leaves Russell massively vulnerable to Carlos Sainz, who will easily
I think they could have waited 2 laps to see what would have happened, to see if Russell could have
enough pace to stay ahead of Lewis,
done it.
and Lewis not to be under attack.
Now it'll be easy getting past Russell.
But what if Sainz got past Hamilton because of just better grip on an open circuit, not like Singapore, and then Sainz gets past Russell, you know what I'm saying?
And George still a little bit sore from that incident at Smooth Corner, which we're coming to now, where Lewis Hamilton was on the inside, Carlos Sainz was on the outside. And both
Like, I think if Russell was still ahead, I think Sainz might have gotten Hamilton at some point, then would have easily gotten Russell.
Well, now that they're ahead, this is what you got to do. You got to give Hamilton got to give DRS. Oh, they are.
So that's the game they were playing. Invert the positions and then give George the DRS. He's so vulnerable here. Sainz can't do it at this point. George desperately needs the DRS now. Lewis has backed off enough.
Yeah, nah, yeah.
He just hasn't got the traction.
Look at the grip.
Mercedes have created this problem there.
Yeah.
And he has got DRS at least as George Russell, but Sainz on fresher tyres has got better grip. Carlos Sainz is going to get past George Russell down into turn 1. And that just seems a decision that was made that was always going to lead to...
Now Sainz can still get Hamilton. Sainz can get both of them here. I think Sainz is he's definitely the quickest one out of them all.
Oh yeah,
Out of these 3.
Yeah, Sainz was really close to Russell on the run-up past 130R, but I think Russell overly defended into the chicane and got a really bad exit. And he also didn't defend at the inside. He should have defended at the inside. Maybe Russell knew he was going to get overtaken, and he was like, cool, go get Hamilton.
Yeah.
More personal now.
Yeah, but then, you know, they said, oh, you know, Russell move over Hamilton. Then they said, oh, Hamilton slow down, make sure he's got the DRS. So instead, you should have just let him go into the, you know, just let him go. Because now...
I see both sides.
They messed it all up. Well, we'll see. Let's see if Sainz can get him. I don't know. It'll be tough.
Behind George Russell, so they can't even do that to try and give themselves an extra point in this race. Not long to go here for your driver of the day. There's one driver that has dominated, and it's Max Verstappen. He's not there from start to finish, but he's never looked anything but a race winner this afternoon.
But remember, Hamilton's one of the best in the field, if not the best in the field, to just keep those tires going.
Well, he was a tenth faster on the previous lap.
Like, even at the end of his stint at the end of the race, he can still eke out those tires and all the performance. That's what he's doing right now, is the gap's not going down.
Who in his career has finished second in Italy in 2021, and then Silverstone, Hungary and Singapore this year, could be on for a 5th race finish in Formula 1 without picking up a win. Oscar Piastri is heading for his first podium.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said we're wasting all this time for no reason. You know, before they didn't do the swap right away, and then they allowed him to do the swap, and then they said for him to stay within the DRS rather than push out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like half in, half out. You can't half-ass it. You could only whole asses. We don't want any half-asses. If you're gonna pull some ass, you better have both of them out.
He's a second. He's like 8 tenths.
Yeah, he's in it now. Sainz looks mad. He looks hungry. He's cooking.
Yeah, he does.
Let him cook. He'll use this lap to get close.
And then the last lap to pass.
Yeah, possibly.
Tyres for Carlos Sainz in his battle with Lewis Hamilton, and it's a battle that is going right to the line. They were barely separated by much in Singapore 7 days ago.
Watch Hamilton and Sainz crash into turn 1. Russell picks up the pieces.
This battle is for 5th in a Japanese Grand Prix that is going to see Red Bull get their 6th Constructors Championship.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I wish it was. In their history. And Max Verstappen is about to start his final lap of this race. 9/10 of a second the difference between Hamilton and Sainz, and crucially for Hamilton, Sainz isn't close enough into the hairpin here.
I don't expect he will be properly. I think you need to have around 1 second advantage pace-wise the car that you're fighting to overtake on track with similar age tyres. And I don't think Sainz has quite got that over Lewis.
This is going to be a 28th win since the start of last season. For Max Verstappen.
I want to watch Hamilton and Sainz, not Verstappen.
Yeah. For real.
Oh, the gap is over 1 second. Interesting.
Yeah, but they're so far behind. Now he's just in it now. I wonder if he'll get it in the detection.
Not just for Max Verstappen, but for his Red Bull team.
Where are they at on track? They must be on the straight now, right?
Yeah, it should be coming up soon.
Oh my god, entire last lap. It's probably because
7 tenths, 5 tenths, 6. I don't know.
No, he didn't get past. I'm on Hamilton's onboard right now.
Okay.
He's still behind, going through the S's right, turn sector 1.
Yeah, you could just watch the hairpin really, but I don't think he's gonna do it. Maybe no.
He's about 4 tenths, 5 tenths behind.
It's a car that the others haven't been able to beat, apart from that night in Singapore last week. And it's a car that's going to celebrate a Constructors'
Sainz is too far back.
Max Verstappen rounds the final corner. He comes home to win the Japanese Grand Prix, and Red Bull can start the celebrations for a
Man, it's almost like I could have went to bed and woke up and dreamed about the race.
I mean, it was still a good race, but you know, when you have 22, 23 on the calendar, they're not all going to be bangers like Singapore, which even was a slow burn. Yeah, Hamilton's going to stay in 5th unless he overcooks the chicane.
He ended yet?
Huh?
He's still out there?
Who?
Piastri. Like 30 seconds behind him.
Comes home to take 3rd place and stand on the podium. Behind the top 3, Charles Leclerc racing to the line to take 4th place.
Back to the Max Verstappen experience in the cooldown room.
Sainz to take 5th. Sainz 6, George Russell tried to make the one-stop work, the only one to try and make the one-stop work.
Constructors champions.
Quite happen for him.
Nice.
He comes home in 7th,
partner.
ahead of Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, and Esteban Ocon. Liam Lawson just misses out.
They don't look happy. They just
Business as usual.
They are Constructors champions.
Let's go, guys! Another win! Unbelievable! Max, that was absolutely fantastic. That was 19.4 ahead of the rest of the field, and that wins us our 6th Constructors World Cup Championship. So
it's crazy. Cool for Piastri though. Get his first
McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna stay here, watching, getting on the podium.
Unbelievable. You got built a rocket ship of the car. Well done.
But for here, I'm signing off.
Total domination really by
Good night.
Red Bull this season. Like you said, what a car they've built. And gives them an advantage as well.
Yeah, good
going
race.
to next
Good
season
race.
because you can start to turn it.
Alright, I'm gonna end the live stream here. We did have a few viewers come up on the Twitch throughout it, so I appreciate that. Some new viewers. They said we were the only people that still had the stream up and didn't get blocked, even though I
We didn't really have the stream, it's just the
yeah,
timing.
just the timing. I don't think any audio came over, but so that's good. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. But yeah, it should upload automatically, and then yeah, we start TCR back up next week. So this is a nice experiment.